y'all, so today I am going to be doing my June wrap up for 2019. I am very happy because in the month of June I read 8 books. I read 8 books this month. I'm so happy with that considering that I have been reading literally like 2-3 books each month so far this year, so I'm very, very happy about this. I am going to start with the last 4 books I read because the last 4 that I read were purely smut, and the reason I did that was because I was running a bit low on my numbers the last week of June, and I really, really wanted to, I had read 5 at that, was it 5? Yeah, I'd read 5 at that point. No, I read 9 books. Holy crap, I cannot get this right. I'm so sorry. I read 5 books, but I wanted to get it up a little bit more. So I went on Scribd and literally just found smutty books. And they're really short, easy, not really, really short. Well, yeah, they're short. They're quick reads, easy to get through. And that way I could also increase my reading goal for Goodreads this year. Kind of had a method to my madness. So we're going to start with those first because I don't know, I feel like those I don't have a ton to say about because they were short. They weren't necessarily something I was ecstatic to read, but they were okay. Okay, so the smut reader that I really was, the smut author that I was really into, oh my god, you guys, okay. The author that I was really into when it came to reading smut, her name is Charlotte Stein. I don't know, I just really, really like her smutty books. I think she does a really, really good job. I don't know, I just loved them. So the first one I'm going to talk about here, I'm just going to hold up an iPad, is Beyond Repair. You guys probably can't see that, but I am broke. You know, I can't afford the fancy equipment and I don't know how to put the pictures up here. I edit on iMovie on my phone. So yeah, you're just going to get a really, really bad iPhone. You know what? Let me turn down my ring light. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, that helps kind of, right? Sure, maybe. So Beyond Repair by Charlotte Stein, I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. I really, really loved this book. I'm trying to remember what it was about. You guys can tell, like, not great at, see, they're not very memorable. I liked it. Maybe I shouldn't give it a 5 then. Maybe I should lower it to like a 3 or a 4. Yeah, I'm going to lower it to a 3 because if it's a 5, it should be way more memorable than that. But I just remember feeling really happy at the end. But if I rate something a 5 and can't even remember what it's about, it's not a 5. So here is what it's about. It was basically about this movie star that this girl Alice had walked in on in her house. Alice is agoraphobic because she had something really traumatic happen to her. And this really like well-known rich movie star is passed out on her rug and basically he was ODing. She helped him and he went on hiatus and he basically just stayed with her for a really long time. Charlotte Stein, because these books are so short, there's hella insta-love, which is something I didn't like. These people would fall in love with each other in every one of her books in literally like a matter of 2 days. And that is crazy, crazy wrong. Like, no, they're fun to enjoy. It's fiction, which is another reason I shouldn't have given it a 5 stars. I don't know what was wrong with me. Gave it a 3 though, now that I'm thinking about it, a 3. Just a lot of insta-love. That is something that I really, really dislike in books. But I can't really get too mad because like I said, this book, how many pages is it? I think it was 230 something books, maybe 250 something. Yeah, it's on Scribd, so I have no idea. But it was still like, it was a really enjoyable read. The smut was good. I really liked the characters. She does a really good job at making the men respectful and nice because I really like that in a good smut book. And I'm also sitting here thinking I have another book that's kind of smutty that I rated a 5 this month, and I don't know why I rated these 5s. These don't even compare to this one at all. So I don't know why I'm on this so much, but it's bothering me. So another book I read by her is called Sheltered. This book I gave a 3, and I guess I'll turn this down again. You can see that. Sorry, this is such trash. I'm so sorry. It's so embarrassing. This book was about a girl named Evie, and she had a very abusive father, and then she meets this guy that's kind of like, he seems kind of like bad, but he's not. He just smokes weed and, like, I don't know, wears dark clothing, I guess. Think he rides a motorcycle, if I'm remembering correctly. But he's not. He's a very, very sweet, sweet guy. And Evie is also a plus-sized woman. I think it was really, really nice to have a rep like that, and just like this beautiful, curvy woman who represents the average woman representing in this romantic novel. And she was so desirable. The man was like so in love with her. And that's how it should be with all plus-size characters. Like, I don't like it when in books when they're like, when the guy's like, oh, when she's like, well, I'm fat. And he goes, no, you're not fat. You're beautiful. Like, I've always really, really disliked that. Me and my mama have always talked about it because my mom and I both struggled with weight issues because we've been on steroids, and the steroids will make you gain a lot of weight. I don't like that when that happens, and this did not happen in this book. Like, she was curvy and plus size, and just like, Charlotte just did such a good job with that whole rep. Like, I felt like it was good rep personally. Now, like my mama, I think she's gonna read it. I thought it was good rep. Maybe other people won't, but I just thought this was my favorite book to read with a plus-sized main character and love interest. It was just my favorite. I just really, really, really loved it and thought it was well done. But there is that one. Then the next one that I read was called Intrusion. Trash, I'm trash. Okay. Intrusion was 224 pages. And this book was about a guy named Noah, and he is the neighbor of the main character. Her name's not in the synopsis, that's annoying. I don't remember her name. He is a new guy that just moved into a neighborhood, and this girl, they kind of just develop a relationship, and she's got really bad trust issues from a previous relationship. And the man in the novel, he has this thing where he doesn't like to get romantic and physical. Like, he doesn't have sex, but he's not asexual. He's got trauma because of his job. He deals with kidnappings, and he's just seen a lot of girls get raped and stuff, and there's this whole psychological trauma behind all of that. Oh, and not saying that being asexual means that you're celibate. That's not the same thing, but I just noticed that the author did like bring up asexuality, and he said he wasn't asexual, but yeah, asexual is not the same as celibacy. Just wanted to be clear on that so that way I didn't confuse or hurt anybody. But yeah, so read that. This one was a 3. It was okay. I like the other 2 that I mentioned better than this one, and then the last smutty book that I read is taken in the same series, Under the Skin. This book was really short. I think it was like 130 pages. This person, so there was this main character named Joanne. Oh, yeah, okay. There's this girl, Joanne, and her friend go to like vandalize this bookstore, and the owner sees her, and the owner like brings her inside his bookstore and like chains her up in his basement. You think he's gonna like murder her, and he doesn't. He's just trying to save her from not getting busted by the police. Basically, they form this little love affair. Weird. This one was my least favorite. I gave it a 2. I did not like this one. I felt it was really, really weird, and just, I don't know, I just really did not like this one, and wasn't my favorite. It was my least favorite out of the ones that I read. So there's that. Horrible explanations with all of them, and the fact that I didn't really care for them. Well, I didn't care for the last one, basically, and they weren't very memorable is what I meant to say. Now let's move on to some physical books that I read. So I'm gonna start with Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is my favorite book of the year so far. I absolutely loved this. I cannot explain how much I love this. Obviously, it's a 5-star, and this is just like to show how much I love this book. I reread this book the instant I read the last word in this book. I literally flipped it back to the beginning and reread it again. I have never done that in my life, ever. I've reread books before, but I have never reread a book the instant I am done with it the first time. I don't know, I just loved this book, and I needed to read it again. I want to read it again right now. It's just one of those books that just tugged at my heart, and made me so happy. And this month personally has been very, very rough for my whole family. I think this book just came in at the right time and made me happy when I was really, really sad. I just loved this book. I loved it so much. Like, this is who I'd want my boyfriend to be like. So freaking amazing. This is basically about a girl named Georgie is the youngest family, or the youngest, I'm so sorry. Georgie is the youngest sibling of 3. She gets really just kind of looked over. People don't take her seriously. They still think she's a kid, even though she's 23. She has her own house, all of that. People just don't take her seriously. Her own family doesn't take her seriously, and it's just really annoying for her. And on top of that, she is actually a clown for a living. So she dresses up as a clown and goes to kids' birthday parties or, you know, events and entertains them. But she really wants to run a business. So she has something in mind with this whole clown thing that she does. She just really loves children. And I don't know, she was so amazing. I loved her. She was flawed, but also just flawed in the best way possible. Like, she wasn't perfect, which is perfect. Like, I don't want a main character that's perfect, and I related to her a lot in a lot of different things, which is good. You want a main character that you can relate to in some way. I don't need a character that is going to be exactly like me, but it's kind of fun to just kind of see yourself in somebody. Like, she's 23 and she's never been kissed, she's never had sex, anything. I'm 21 and have never been kissed, I've never had sex. I don't always want the main characters, the women, to be virgins, because it's just unrealistic, and there is nothing wrong with a woman who is comfortable with her sexuality, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think there's a good balance that needs to be had when it comes to the female love interest. I think that women, we get put in a box a lot. I don't know what the hell box that was. That I did not just make a box, basically. That was ridiculous. I just don't think that women should be put in this box that we have to act a certain way, we have to have this sort of sexuality, we have to have this sort of personality. It's just unnecessary. I just wanted to say that because I do not think that all female love interests need to be a virgin, but when it happens, it makes me feel good because it doesn't make me feel as alone and pathetic, basically, because it gets like that sometimes. I mean, this is a choice that I've made. I'm very academically driven. I don't know, I'm just very guarded. It's a choice that I've made. But I mean, I do want the rat guy to come along sometime so I can have these experiences. But it just was really nice to read about a character that I could really relate to in that sense. And oh my God, the man in this book. Okay, his name is Travis. He is her older brother's childhood best friend. And those are my favorite tropes. I love that storyline. Beautiful Player by Christina Lauren has that storyline where there is a child and she's a little child, and then her older sibling, her older brother, had this best friend that she's always been in love with, and then they grow up and they meet again and then they fall in love. That is my absolute favorite trope of all time, and it happened in this, and I was so happy about it. It was perfect. Travis was amazing, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed in this book. There is this part in this book that if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. It was so funny. I laughed for probably 20 minutes. I woke up my mama. She was in another room with me than me. She was in the den, I was in my bedroom. Like, oh my God, I laughed so hard. I could not quit laughing. There was other times too when I laughed throughout this book, and I generally am not a person that laughs out loud when I'm reading a book, but there were more than one occasion where I laughed out loud while reading this. But there was just that one particular scene that I busted out laughing, like peeing myself laughing. And like I said, if you've read it, you have to know what I'm talking about. Like, there's no way that if you've read it, you don't know what I mean. So I strongly recommend this. I could go on talking about this forever and ever and ever, but I strongly recommend this. I want to reread it now. It was just so good. I loved it so much, and I'm just so happy that I found a book that means so much to me, because I haven't really had like an amazing favorite book this year, and this is it. This is it. She's it. I will have a hard time besting this one. So perfect. Tessa Bailey is a genius. I love her and I'm gonna buy more of her books because she's amazing. Okay, so the next few books I'm gonna show you is actually in a series. So I read The Raven Boys a year and a half ago. I read it, I loved it, I gave it a 5, and then for some reason I never picked it back up again. And I don't know why it took me so long because I loved it. I just didn't. Beginning of this month, I decided to read The Dream Thieves, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and The Raven King. And oh my gosh, I love all of these. I gave them all a 5-star. I go very in depth with my thoughts about this series in my vlog that I did about this that I can link down below. Basically, I just loved this. It's one of my favorite series that I've ever read, fantasy-wise. I just love the main characters in these books. Like, the core group of people in this book, or in the series, was absolutely fantastic. They had beautiful chemistry. I felt like there was pretty good rep. It was definitely creepy and spooky. The first book I didn't feel was incredibly spooky, but as each book went on, it got more and more creepy. It gets more scary along the way because I was really wanting the horror aspect to it. The relationships, friends and significant otherwise, were amazing. I love the family aspect, especially with Blue Sergeant. Her family, I adored them. I don't know, I did not hate one character in this book, besides some villains, obviously, that you're not supposed to like, and there was this villain in the book that I loved to hate her because she was hilarious, and I actually, kind of liked her but hated her, you know what I mean? Like one of those situations. But I don't know, I just love these. I strongly recommend it. I'm literally kicking myself for waiting over a year to read the rest of the series. I don't know what the hell happened. But I am glad that I finally did it. Now that I can say that I read this amazing series, it has to be a pretty damn good series if I sit and read pretty much the entire series in a matter of 2 weeks, because normally I don't do that. The last time I did that, I did it with Harry Potter. My mother's sneezing, so sorry about that. That's how I know it's good. Even though I waited a while for the first book, I don't know why, stupid. I read these like mad. They're very addicting. The last book that I am going to show y'all that I read in the month of June, I hated this book. It's a 1-star. I hated this book. I haven't uploaded this vlog yet of me reading this. I have finished editing it. So I've got to process it, upload it, and it'll be up before this is. But it was garbage, okay? So here's what it's called. I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. This is the one book that I read from my June TBR jar picks. I hated this. So Alice Feeney wrote Sometimes I Lie, and I gave that a 5. I think I read it last year, maybe very early this year, and I loved that book so much. This book was trash. I would not guess in a million years that the same author who wrote Sometimes I Lie wrote this monstrosity of a book. There's just, first of all, the trigger warnings for this are endless, and I really go in depth about this book in a vlog, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I will link it below. There is spoilers at the very end of it, like the last, I don't know, 15 minutes of the vlog. The vlog's long, it's like 45 minutes. I had a lot to say about this, but there are trigger warnings for just about everything. There's trigger warnings for rape, domestic violence, physical abuse, emotional abuse, kidnapping, animal cruelty, so many things that I'm not even listing right now, and I couldn't even list all of them in the vlog. Oh my god. And the ending in this book is so disgusting, like so gross. And this whole book was just too much. It was too much. You could tell that she was trying way too hard to be different and edgy and out there. She was just trying to make this crazy thriller, and it ended up being a mess. I use this example a lot in the vlog, but Gillian Flynn is a perfect example, in my opinion, of a good author who knows how to write out their thrillers that are creepy and weird, but they don't go over the line to insanity. And Sharp Objects, I felt really walked that line. It still didn't go over it for me. This was beyond ridiculous. All of it. There was so much going on, too much going on. I just hated it. I hated it. And I don't really want to rehash everything that I've already said about it. So like I said, if you want to know a lot more in-depth detail about it, just seriously, I'll link it down below. You can watch it. Trash. That's all I can say. It was trash. It was trash. Trash. And I would throw it in the trash. And I never want to throw books away, but I don't feel like anybody deserves to have this in their house. I feel like I need to save somebody the pain from reading this. I'm not being over dramatic. I'm not trying to be extra. That's just genuinely how I felt. It took me, I think, a day and a half to 2 days to finish this book, and this book is 288 pages long. I can normally read that short of a book in a matter of hours, but with this, it was too much. I kept having to take breaks. It messed with my sake. It messed with my anxiety really, really bad. It was too much. It was gross. Disgusting, horrible. I hated it. I mean, maybe somebody could like it, but I hated it. So, just garbage. That is all for my June wrap up. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'll just see y'all later. Bye.